So as you guys know, I got engaged. If you ever want to see what's happening to me in real life, be sure to follow me on Instagram. Got 153K followers right now. Also, memes come here as well.
Why did I move here? I guess it was witness protection.
Oh my God, you actually edited it. You. So the proposal was not a surprise for Aitana. If she had any doubts, I accidentally left the ring in a place she could see it. When I bought this place, I came here to check it all out and stuff. I realized that I was a lot closer to the custom jewelry store that I used to make the ring. The ring was ready, it's just I had not found time to pick it up. And it's like a long drive from my old house, but a short one from the new house. I'm like, oh, sweet. And so I drive, pick up the ring, come back to my new house that I wasn't staying in yet. And once the work had been done on the house, I drove back to my other house that I was living in, my old house. And I left the ring in this house on the bench. And so Aitana comes to the house eventually to check on stuff. And she's like, what's this ring bag from a custom jewelry store? So we discussed that I was going to propose. And like, I talked about it when I was at PAX, and like I was, like TG and everyone, all of us were in a little group, and we were talking about how I've got a ring and stuff. Aitana brought up that we're going to Bali in a couple of weeks. I was like, oh, we'll see what happens. And so it was very obvious that I was proposing in Bali. And people caught on when I was like, I'm off to Bali for a small holiday. It's in Indonesia, and it's the most popular place for Australians to vacation, but I've never been before. There will be no live streams for a few days, but I will have some exciting news soon. Happy Halloween, and I wish you all the best. And like half the comments were like, okay, so he's like proposing to her, they're getting married, they have a kid or something. So into Bali, to a resort. Ultimately, we spent most of our time just, like on the beach and by the water and on chairs and it's relaxing and stuff. And we went to the spa twice, got massages and stuff. And I organized this seaside dinner here. There's a bonfire out here and we could see the water and it was all beautiful. It was fairly private, but you could see like other couples along the beach that were also having like anniversaries and stuff. Originally, there was going to be a thing behind this that said, will you marry me? Flowers and stuff, which I organized. And then like 2 days before they canceled. At least this is a heart down here. So they did something. And also in the room, they made like swans and a heart out of towels. That's talent right there, right? So the proposal here, both of us were blindfolded initially, but they let me take off my blindfold because I obviously knew where I was going. And Aitana commented afterwards, like, it was very obvious you didn't have your blindfold on because you started walking normally and you were like leading me. I didn't want to write a script. I already knew in my heart what I wanted to say. When I got down on one knee and I tried to speak and she's just looking down at me and she's all surprised and stuff as she looks, because like she didn't know exactly how it was going to happen. I just started to cry, like not full ball tears, but I'm like, oh shit. I'm like, it made it very hard to speak. Like I was choking up and she's like, oh, and she leans in and like to kiss me like this because she loves me and she's supporting me and stuff. And all the people around that led us here were like, yay! And she's like, no, it's not done yet, stop. And then I start talking. I said to her, like, the most beautiful woman I've ever known. I feel like we both make each other better than we are apart. We make ourselves into our best selves. And I've made millions of dollars. I've had millions of fans, but I never felt like a winner until I met her. And there's no situation in my life that I don't feel is made better by her presence. There's not a single situation where I wouldn't want Aitana to be there. And she's just enriched my life in ways that it's almost impossible to describe. Without her, I don't know how I would have dealt with even a fleck of the garbage I've had to deal with over the last couple of years. It was for like an incomplete person, but finding a person that who could be with me through thick and thin meant a lot. Like some people questions, like it's not even been 2 years. Engaged slightly faster than average. I thought about proposing next year. I was like, why? I can barely fathom my life without her and not spending my life with her. I care about her almost, or maybe even as much as I care about myself. Why wait? When you hit your 30s, this isn't a short amount of time. This is about what you'd expect. And of course, as you imagine, I screwed up. This ring box is not facing the right way. She expected me to open the ring box and then talk, but we looked it up afterwards that it's most common to say to open the ring box when you say, will you marry me? After what I said, and I said, will you marry me? I opened the ring box towards myself. It's like, will you marry me? Like I was proposing to myself. She's like looking over at the ring. And I turn it around and she grabs the ring and stuff. She loves the ring, of course. And how did I pick this? Knowing her as long as I have. And her, dropping hints as to what ring she likes. As well as talking to my sister about it before. I had some pretty strong guidance as to what she wanted. protruding rings like this, I am not a fan of at all. They look great on other people, but for me personally, when I used to wear rings back in the day, I would always wear flat rings, which is great for wedding bands because that's what they are. I usually want something that protruded. And so this is a lab-grown diamond, because lab-grown diamonds are identical in every way, except like under a microscope, to normal diamonds. And it shines beautifully. It looks so amazing. And these on the side, these are actual diamonds. I didn't have a choice in that because apparently they don't bother making lab-grown diamonds this small. But lab-grown diamonds, while looking exactly the same, are like a fraction of the price. The ring costs $7,000, guys. That's Australian. So like, factor that to American, like 4.5. There's something else called like moissanite. Given that exists, it's like just a tiny bit more fragile than diamonds or whatever. I'm surprised diamonds are bought at all. So if you ever want to get yourself some cheap, like great jewelry, go with for moissanite. I should have proposed in Spanish. God, no. Was I nervous? I was confident she'd say yes. I was anxious about everything else. Why did I choose Bali? So we were already going to Bali for something else. And it just lined up. I had the ring, we're going to a fancy hotel. And Bali in Indonesia is a very common tourist destination spot for Australians. Because it's so close to Australia and there's not much of a time zone difference, so you don't feel as much jet lag and stuff. And so I booked a romantic dinner and spa there. We were there for 4 days. The photographer here was insane. He was just snapping so much, and all the pictures look amazing. A problem with organizing something entirely secret, that was the main thing I was nervous about, actually. Finding a way to do this without her knowing, which of course she ended up finding out anyway. Because she organizes all the trips we go on. Because I knew we were already going to Bali, I organized the things that we were doing with the proposal. Like, it'd be very strange for me to be like, hey babe, I've decided to book us a trip to a romantic destination. It'd be really obvious, right? And like, I was never going to be able to keep this a secret from her. Did you pull a real life jewel store house to acquire the ring? No.
I just want everyone to know that this is the man who told his first girlfriend no, you don't when she said I love you, so he knows his decisions well.
I did say that to my first girlfriend when she said she loved me, but she didn't love me, and I knew that. But I was dumb. Like, I've always just had problems with self-esteem in many different respects, and I could never take a compliment when I was younger. And sometimes I still even have problems with that. The first instinct is like to deflect or to not just be thankful that people say nice things. I don't know. I've gotten better at it in part because of my job, but Aitana especially has done a lot to convince me that I have more value as a person outside of just, making funny videos on YouTube. That a person as amazing as her can see me in my best and worst moments. There was this one night that I think cemented for me that we could be together forever. Her friend was having a party. This was very early in our relationship. And I brought to the party this huge bottle of tequila. This bottle I got for her. We were at a bar and she was like, oh, that tequila, I've always wanted to try that. And she points to like a bottle, like offhandedly, because it's a very cool looking bottle. It's like blue and white and it looks Greek, but it's not. When she was looking away, I stealthily took like a picture with my phone and I bought it for her as a gift. And it was the smoothest tequila ever. So easy to drink. It was like water. And I overindulged in alcohol for the first time in like, who knows, since like to that degree, like since my early 20s. I just didn't understand how much I was drinking. I was blackout drunk at some point. Like I remember almost next to nothing from the party. And I threw up in the Uber. And of course the Uber driver kicked us out and we got charged extra fees. So we had to get another Uber. And then I threw up in that Uber too. And I was like, wow, this amazing woman and I've just ruined this completely. And she never judged me at all for it. She never said anything. She just took care of me. I stayed at her place. And it was just a funny story. We got the good ending. I've been watching you since 2019 and I never thought you would get married. I want to show you my old Q&A video. December 2021. Does DarkViperAU have a girlfriend? No, I haven't gone out on a date in like 8 years. I had 2 girlfriends like in that sort of high school, then a little bit after high school period. Neither of them were particularly long-lived and were terrible. I have no good memories of that shit. The women that I was interested in, not interested in me. The experience I had doing online dating, like I went on a couple of dates with some women that I met on like OkCupid and stuff, which was more popular back then. Not good experiences. My experience in the dating world has been nothing but negative. Nothing but negative. It's the area of life I feel that I've most failed at. And I sometimes worry that because I'm getting older, it's going to be harder and harder for me to find someone to live the rest of my life with. Like the average person who is 30 years old has probably been in a relationship for like 5 years, lived with another person long term. And it's just weird imagining getting involved with someone who's going to have expectations of knowledge in regards to how to handle themselves in a long-term relationship that I simply don't have. You know, being a loner this long, you get used to being alone. And it'd be interesting to how I would do with being in a permanent living relationship with another person. But I mean, I'm not the same person I was 8 years ago, let alone 10 years ago. So I do think I would do better in a relationship these days, but I don't meet people. I'm at home all day. The average person, for most of history, met their significant other through work or work friends, or, you know, the wives of their work friends. I don't have any of that shit. These days, like 40% of people finds a relationship online, but I don't have fucking time to spend combing through websites to find a person who's interested in a GTA 5 speedrunner making YouTube and Twitch content. The percentage of people who would respect what I do, find it interesting or whatever, is very small. I've got so much work to do that I've kind of just stopped trying. It's something that I reflect on sometimes, that I haven't found a girlfriend. And I am envious of the few other content creators that I speak to on a regular basis who do have significant others. It's not something that's likely going to be solved anytime soon. So do you have a girlfriend now? Nope, I have a fiance.